Good morning. Today we turn our attention to a story that has cast a dark shadow over a normally peaceful community. In Salt Lake City, a terrible event has unfolded, leaving residents in shock and searching for answers. An evening that should have been quiet was shattered by gunfire, transforming a place of worship into a scene of tragedy. The news of a shooting is always difficult, but when it happens at a location meant for peace, the shock is even greater. As we explore this tragic event, we'll look at what happened, the impact, and how the community is coping. This is more than a headline. It's a deeply human story of loss, grief, and the search for peace. The shooting took place in the parking lot, a space that, for so many in this neighborhood, is more than just a stretch of asphalt. It's a place where families greet each other after Sunday services, where children play while parents chat, and where the community gathers for celebrations and support in times of need. On this night, however, the familiar comfort of this setting was shattered. The incident unfolded outside a meetinghouse for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a building that stands as a cornerstone for faith, fellowship, and belonging in Salt Lake City. Its doors are open to all, offering a sense of unity and purpose to the people who gather here week after week. Located at 660 North Redwood Road in Rose Park, this church is a familiar hub for worship and community events. Generations have come together here for baptisms, weddings, potlucks, and youth activities. The building is woven into the fabric of daily life, a landmark that represents stability and shared values for the neighborhood. These meeting houses are meant to be safe havens, places where people can find peace and comfort. For local residents, the violence that erupted here was especially jarring, a stark contrast to the warmth and security they associate with this sacred space. Emergency calls began flooding in at 7:36 p.m. on a Wednesday evening, just as families were settling in for the night. The quiet routine of dinner tables and bedtime stories was suddenly interrupted by the sound of sirens and the flashing of emergency lights racing toward the church. The calm was brutally interrupted by gunfire, turning a place of solace into a scene of panic and confusion. People who had come to find comfort and closure were instead confronted with chaos and fear, their sense of safety ripped away in an instant. The church, a symbol of stability and hope for so many, was suddenly at the center of a citywide emergency. Police cars and ambulances surrounded the building, their lights casting an eerie glow on the familiar walls. The entire community was left reeling, struggling to comprehend how such violence could strike so close to home. A funeral service was being held that night, adding a heartbreaking layer to the tragedy. Friends and family had gathered to honor a loved one's memory, seeking solace in shared grief. Instead, they found themselves at the center of a new and unimaginable loss. People had come together to mourn, to support one another, and to find comfort in their faith. But the event ended with more loss, leaving the community grappling with shock and sorrow that would linger long after the night was over. The sanctity of the occasion was shattered, compounding the grief for everyone present. The pain of losing a loved one was now intertwined with the trauma of violence, making the healing process even more difficult for those affected. The parking lot, once a place for quiet condolences and heartfelt goodbyes, became a scene of horror and disbelief. In the aftermath, the community was left to pick up the pieces, searching for answers and hoping to restore the sense of peace that had always defined this gathering place. The violence began with a conflict outside the funeral service. Police say a fight broke out among attendees, though it's unclear what sparked it. What started as a confrontation quickly spiraled out of control. Suddenly, someone produced a weapon and began shooting. The sound of gunfire sent people running for cover, turning chaos into terror. The parking lot, filled with mourners, became a place of mortal danger. Panic ensued as people scrambled for safety, some helping the injured while others fled. A gathering meant for remembrance became the site of a new tragedy. The consequences were immediate and devastating. 8 adults were shot during the outbreak of violence. Tragically, 2 of the victims died from their injuries. The news of these fatalities sent a wave of grief through Salt Lake City. 3 of the wounded were in critical condition, rushed to local hospitals. The remaining victims' conditions were initially unknown, adding to the anxiety. Some were driven to hospitals by friends or family, complicating the emergency response. The pain and suffering rippled through many lives in just moments. The community now mourns not just one loss, but several, in the most violent of circumstances. The initial confusion and panic speak to the sheer terror that gripped the scene. The moment the first 911 calls came in, the city's emergency response system was set into motion. Dispatchers worked rapidly, relaying urgent information to police, fire, and medical teams. Within seconds, sirens pierced the night as units mobilized from across the city, converging on the scene with a sense of urgency and purpose. Police, firefighters, and paramedics rushed to Redwood Road, their vehicles weaving through traffic, lights flashing and sirens blaring. The coordination between agencies was immediate, as each team prepared for the unknown situation ahead. Arriving officers faced a chaotic and rapidly evolving scene. They had to quickly assess the situation, identify threats, and provide life-saving aid to those in need. Some officers moved to secure the perimeter, while others rushed to help the injured, working side by side with paramedics. Ambulances lined the street as paramedics performed triage, prioritizing the most critically wounded. Victims were stabilized on the spot, then quickly loaded into ambulances for transport to nearby hospitals. The scene was tense, but the responders worked with practiced efficiency. Not all victims waited for ambulances. In the confusion, some were rushed to hospitals by friends or bystanders in private vehicles, spreading the emergency response across multiple locations and adding to the challenge for first responders. Police quickly established a large perimeter, blocking off the church parking lot and surrounding streets. This was crucial to preserve evidence, protect the public, and allow emergency crews to work safely. The search for the shooter or shooters began immediately. Officers and SWAT teams fanned out through the neighborhood, moving cautiously and methodically. Residents were urged to stay indoors as the area remained on high alert. Meanwhile, officers began interviewing witnesses, gathering statements from those who saw or heard anything. Every detail mattered, as investigators tried to piece together the sequence of events and identify those responsible. In the confusion, 2 individuals were briefly detained for questioning. Officers worked quickly to determine if they were involved, but no suspects were immediately named as the investigation continued through the night. Detectives and crime scene investigators combed the area for evidence, marking shell casings and documenting every detail. In those first critical hours, every observation could be the key to solving the case. Through it all, the professionalism, speed, and dedication of first responders were vital. Their coordinated efforts under pressure made a difference in saving lives and bringing order to chaos. With the immediate crisis over, police launched a full-scale investigation. Detectives are working through evidence, including shell casings and physical clues from the fight. A key focus is determining how many suspects were involved and their connection to the funeral. Witnesses are being re-interviewed to clarify what happened. The suspect vehicle, described as a gray or silver car, was last seen heading north on Redwood Road. Police are reviewing traffic and security camera footage for leads. Public cooperation is essential. Anyone with information is urged to come forward, even anonymously. The collective eyes and ears of the community are crucial in the search for justice. The investigation is a complex puzzle, but every detail matters. Police remain committed to finding those responsible. The recent shooting has left Salt Lake City, and especially the close-knit neighborhood of Rose Park, reeling in shock and disbelief. The sense of safety that many residents once felt has been deeply shaken, replaced by a heavy cloud of grief and uncertainty. For many, it's hard to comprehend how such violence could erupt in their own community, a place where neighbors know each other by name and children play together in the streets. In the aftermath, candlelight vigils and gatherings have become a source of comfort, drawing residents together to mourn, share stories, and support one another. These moments of unity offer a small measure of solace, as people light candles, embrace, and remember those whose lives were lost or forever changed. Faith leaders from local churches have spoken out, condemning the violence and offering heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims. Through prayer services and special gatherings, they are helping the community process its grief and find hope in the face of tragedy. Local officials and spiritual leaders are working side by side, providing both emotional and spiritual support. They are meeting with families, listening to their stories, and offering guidance as the community tries to make sense of what has happened. For the families of the victims, the pain is unimaginable. They now face a long and difficult journey of grief and recovery, surrounded by friends and neighbors who are doing their best to offer comfort and practical help during this devastating time. Community organizations have stepped up, providing counseling services, organizing support groups, and raising funds to help those most affected. Volunteers are distributing food, supplies, and offering a listening ear to anyone in need, showing that compassion and solidarity are stronger than fear. The tragedy has also sparked urgent conversations about violence and safety. Town hall meetings and community forums are giving residents a chance to voice their concerns, share ideas, and demand action to prevent future tragedies. Despite the pain, residents are determined not to let this act of violence define their neighborhood. Many are coming together to strengthen community bonds, launch new safety initiatives, and look for ways to create a more secure and welcoming environment for everyone. The road to healing will be long and challenging, but the resilience and unity of the community are already shining through. Neighbors are supporting each other, rebuilding together, and finding hope in small acts of kindness and solidarity. As Salt Lake City reflects on this tragedy, both reflection and action are needed. By coming together, learning from the past, and working toward a safer future, the community is showing that even in the darkest times, hope and determination can light the way forward. In the aftermath, both community and police are working to restore safety. Police have increased patrols in Rose Park, providing reassurance and deterring further crime. Community leaders are organizing neighborhood watch meetings and encouraging vigilance. The message safety is a shared responsibility. Discussions are underway about security at public gathering places, including churches. Some congregations may review safety protocols, balancing openness with protection. Outreach programs are focusing on conflict resolution and de-escalation. Workshops and education aim to prevent violence before it starts. The commitment is to build a safer, more peaceful future together. As of January 9, 2026, the investigation remains active. Police continue to follow leads and appeal for public help, determined to bring those responsible to justice. For the victims' families and the community, accountability is a crucial step toward healing. The path forward is one of mourning and rebuilding, with support and unity essential. This tragedy is a call to action, supporting law enforcement, promoting peace, and ensuring safe havens for all. The memory of the victims demands nothing less. Salt Lake City will mourn, heal, and work together for a safer future. We will continue to follow this story and bring updates as they become available.